Okay, in football news, Ajax obviously clearly defeated Tottenham last night in the Champions League semi-final first leg 1-0. That's fine. The game is overshadowed by Jan Vertonghen's head injury and the response to it. He's knocked out clean cold. Cold as day. He's on the floor. He's out. Okay, he's not conscious. He's helped to his feet. They check his head over. He goes to the sideline. He should have been substituted there and then, and he should have been taken to hospital for a proper assessment for a fractured skull, let alone a concussion. He's then waved back on by the officials before he can tell he's not well, and he collapses on the way off the field into Maurizio Pochettino's arms. He is physically incapable of walking. So this whole incident raises questions about football's protocols when it comes to concussion and head injuries. Now, this is the second time in, I think, 3 years that Tottenham have been involved with an incident where a player of theirs has been concussed and has tried to play on, only to be then later on substituted with feeling the effects of a very serious concussion or head injury. The first incident was involving, again, Hugo Lloris, who's involved in this incident with a clash of heads. He's hurt. It was very similar to the Petr Cech incident when he was playing against Reading for Chelsea. And Lloris is knocked clean out, receives treatment, tries to play on, and the effects of concussion are clearly there. His legs turn to jelly. He's not even sure where he is. He wants to play on because he's not aware he's concussed. This is the second such incident involving Tottenham. This raises questions about the club doctor and the fact that the officials were happy with Jan Vertonghen returning to the field, even though he is not in a fit state to walk, let alone run or head a football. Had that been any other sport, and I'm going to label a few sports where there are head injury assessment protocols in place. That's rugby league, rugby union, AFL, which is Aussie rules, ice hockey, that includes the NHL, the NFL and CFL, which are North American football, so American football. Any of those sports, an injury like that player is probably not returning. The fact that he was clean out for a lengthy period of time, he's not coming back. It's actually written into the rule book in rugby league, rugby union, and ice hockey, especially. If a player is completely unconscious, he cannot return to the field. I believe American and Canadian football, so the NFL and CFL, are going down the same lines that if a player is completely unconscious for a lengthy period of time, he cannot return to the field, even if he does pass the head injury assessment there and then, because concussion can also be a delayed injury. The symptoms can come a few minutes, a few hours, even a few days and weeks later. The fact that Jan Vertonghen was deemed fit to play on before collapsing raises severe concerns about the impartiality of team doctors and also UEFA and FIFA's protocols when it comes to head injuries and football as a sport in general. This talking point is not going to go away. We've seen what happened with Petr Cech. We've seen what happened with, I think, Myler, who had to retire because of a fractured skull. He used to play for Hull. And what happened to Hugo Lloris a couple of years ago playing for Tottenham in the Premier League. There have been a few other head injuries similar. There was one at the World Cup where the player was seriously concussed after a tackle, and the team doctor there and then went, "No, you're not playing." The guy wanted to take the throw in or the free kick, and the team doctor dragged him off the field. There is no actual standard protocol in place with football that I am aware of when it comes to a head injury assessment for concussion. Now, there are those who say, "Oh, it's a man's sport. You know, we're getting too soft." Okay, if we're getting too soft, why did a 16-year-old kid die playing in Samoa, playing rugby union? If we're getting too soft, why are players taking their lives because of severe depression as a result of severe concussions time after time in rugby union, rugby league, ice hockey, Aussie rules? Why are players taking their own lives? Why is CTE such a big discussion point when you have the onset of early dementia in your 30s? The average life expectancy of a contact sport player, and that includes boxing and MMA, a lot of them are dying in their 50s to 60s when the average life expectancy is pushing 80 in the general population. There are big concerns about head injuries. That is why so many sports have a head injury assessment where the player has to go to a quiet room, sit down and fulfill a number of tests, even though he would have also had to fulfill certain requirements on the field for the team doctor or the independent doctor, depending on the sport in which they're playing, to deem him fit enough to continue before needing a head injury assessment. There's been a big debate in rugby union, rugby league and the NHL and NFL due to the CTE lawsuit, especially the NHL and NFL in North America. Football is well behind the times. This is a big debating point over the last 24 hours. It's not going to go away, and I wouldn't be surprised if UEFA or FIFA have to take action and implement a head injury assessment where it's an automatic substitution and the player has to go through an assessment to deem him fit to return to training, for one, and whether he needs further medical attention. Because brain injuries, they're there. It's a talking point. It's not going away. It's becoming more prevalent as a talking point. Other sports are more proactive or possibly reactive in introducing their head injury assessments. But so many players are having to retire early because of concussion-related symptoms in a variety of sports. I think Pat Lambie is a prime example of a player who has retired from rugby union because of ongoing concussion issues. George North is a player who's had a lot of concussions, who's had a lot of injury time off. Dylan Hartley, he's had concussions and concussion-related injuries and symptoms, and that's affected his playing career. We look at the NHL, so many players are having to retire. NFL, the list gets longer and longer. Football is lagging behind, and it's a matter of time before there's a serious injury where a player is in a far worse state than Jan Vertonghen or Hugo Lloris or Dan Myler or whoever it is getting concussed or having a head injury on the field. There's going to be some serious consequences if, they go to head that football, go in for a challenge and take another blow to the head, and then it could be far more serious than Jan Vertonghen being carried off the field by his coach. Questions have to be asked, though, about the independence of the team doctor, because they're going to be pressured by their coaches and their owners to keep their star players on the field, and the impartiality. And also questions have to be asked about the match officials deeming he's fit enough to continue playing when clearly he is not. But I'm going to leave that there. Place your thoughts in the comments section below. Please like and subscribe. I will have some more videos for you very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.